Hey guys, Evan here. Today I'm going to be discussing some of my favorite books as I have been on a bit of a reading streak recently and wanted to bring it onto the channel. So I'm going to talk about some of my favorite books and recommend them to you guys, hopefully convincing you guys to read them too. I'm going to get straight into this because I'm really excited to show these off. The first book I want to mention is Skulldegree Pleasant by Derek Landy. This book follows 12-year-old Stephanie Edgley, who after her Uncle Gordon's death inherits his house. When she eventually visits the house, she is attacked, but is saved by Skulldegree Pleasant, a man who she met at the will reading. Oh, did I mention he's also a skeleton and a sorcerer? This is a 14-book series that follows Stephanie's life as she is thrust into this world of magic and crime. It is extremely dark and highly funny, and I truly do recommend it to anyone who likes fantasy, humor, and a little bit of darkness. Oh, and did I mention it takes place in Dublin? I mean, come on, I gotta support my country. The next book I want to mention is the first book in the Disney Villain Tale series, Fairest of All by Serena Valentino. This series follows the origin stories of different Disney villains and also has an overarching story which features many of the same characters throughout the books. This book follows the evil queen from the moment she marries the king and becomes queen to the moment she is defeated in Snow White, and it is amazing. We see her descent into madness and her obsession with being the fairest of all, and it is insane. I highly recommend it. It is truly outstanding. The next series I want to mention is the Disney Twisted Tales, which is basically Marvel's What If, but with Disney movies and in book form. There are many books in the series, like What Once Was Mine, Straight Onto Morning, and A Whole New World. I'll let you guess what movies they're based on in the comments. But the one I want to mention is As Old as Time by Liz Braswell, which asks the question, what if the enchantress who cursed the beast was actually Belle's mother? We follow two stories. The first is the regular story of Beauty and the Beast, but with many alterations. However, the second is Belle's mother and father falling in love in a time that is filled with magic, and how that magic disappeared. I will say the book is amazing, but is actually quite creepy at times, given the fact it's a YA novel. Still, I highly recommend it, especially if you love Beauty and the Beast. I love Beauty and the Beast, and I really enjoyed this book. It is amazing. The next book I'd like to mention is Only Mostly Devastated by Sophie Gonzalez. You might recognize the name from my last video, which was a haul where I bought one of her other books, Perfect on Paper. This book follows Ollie, who, after a summer fling with this perfect boy named Will, moves to a new town and starts a new school, where he finds Will attending. However, he is completely different from the boy that Ollie fell in love with. If that sounds familiar, this is a modern-day retelling of Grease, which is why I picked it up. It is funny, heartbreaking, joyous. It is an amazing book. I highly recommend it, especially if you like YA romance. Also, this is the book that got me to start reading YA romance, so you can blame this for the amount of YA romance that is not only on the rest of this list, but will be featuring on the channel for the next few years. Just a quick note before we continue, these last three books are all stuff I have read within the last month. Yeah, like I said, I've been on a bit of a reading streak. So, yeah. The first book from the streak is Date Me Bryce in Color by Kevin Van Wy. This book follows Kai Sheridan, who after a really bad morning, mistakenly accepts the dare made by Bryson Keller. The dare is that Bryson has to date the first person that asks him out on a Monday. He then dates them for the week and breaks up with them on Friday, repeats the next week. However, there's one little specification that Bryson never made. He never said only girls could play the dare. This book is adorable, honestly. I loved all of the characters, the story is great, it has really emotional moments, and it is overall just an amazing novel. I highly recommend it to anyone, but especially if you're just starting out with YA books. It's not too teenage based, so it is a great way to start off with YA stuff. I have no idea if that last bit made sense, but we're going to continue anyway. The next book I want to talk about is The Inheritance Games by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. This book follows Avery Grahams, who is invited to the will reading of billionaire Tobias Hawthorne. When she arrives, she finds out that he has left his business, his property, and his entire fortune to Avery, a girl he has never met. The one rule? She has to live in his mansion with his family for 1 year. A family that now hates her because they feel like she stole their fortune. However, as the book goes on, it is discovered that Tobias Hawthorne has left a series of games and puzzles for his family to figure out. The reason? No one knows. This book is amazing. The amount of twists and moments I audibly gasped out loud at is immeasurable. It is also the first book of a trilogy, with the second book, The Hawthorne Legacy, coming out last September, and the third book, The Final Gambit, coming out this September. The final book I want to mention is They Both Die at the End by Adam Silvera. I only finished this a few days ago, and it is already on this list. That tells you how good it is. This book takes place in a world with a service called Deathcast, which rings you on the morning of your death day. This book follows two characters named Mateo Torres and Rufus Emeterio on their last day together. They've never met before, but they both went on an app, found each other, and now they're spending their final day on Earth together. This book is uplifting, it is heartwarming, and heartbreaking. Seriously, I've never cried at a book, but I got extremely close to this ending. Good lord. Now, I do have to warn, this book is a little on the older side, so I would recommend researching a bit and definitely Googling the trigger warnings before you buy it. But if you feel comfortable after reading the trigger warnings, I have to recommend it. It's amazing. And those are all the books I will be talking about today. Thank you very much for watching. Feel free to like and subscribe, and down in the comments below, tell me your favorite books. Goodbye and good luck.